What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be repairing our very rusty seals on Project MR2. Let's go and take a look. Now then, when I first saw these seals, I was a little bit worried, and we need them done for the MOT, there's no two ways about it. But the beauty of the MR2 is that we've got this plastic piece that goes over the top. So if we didn't have that, obviously we'd be letting a patch in, and then we'd be filling, and then we'd be stone chipping to the original stone chip level, then we'd be painting, and we'd be blending. But we've got this section that sits on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to fit it up, and then we're going to mask off and then draw a line, and we're going to hope that we can keep our repair section inside of that line, so that if we do, it's a case of welding a patch round, seam sealing, protecting and painting, and then you'll never see it. So it's time to break out the persuader and see just how bad these seals really are. And again, this is what I've managed to do with my fingers. This is where it gets interesting. So that's our line marked out, and I think there's a good chance we're going to be able to stay within that line that we've put on. It's time to be brave, measure, I don't know, ½ an inch down from that green line, which will give us a chance to overlap our patch ever so slightly and then seam weld along, and then we can do some cutting. Well, that escalated quickly, and I nearly cut my finger off too. So a great start to what can only be a fantastic day. We had to cut out more than we thought, didn't we? Let me show you what's inside. Right, let's start at the front, which unfortunately is the good side. We still need to cut off the return lip where the outer sill spot welds onto the inner sill, which then spot welds onto the floor on the back of it. At the back, still got this little one to attend to. Hopefully it won't go too far. But then I thought that about this. I thought as much, but I didn't think it would be quite this extensive. Obviously we've got an inner sill in there. Hopefully the inner sill right in the back of here is solid enough that I can rub it down and treat it. But we're going to have to refabricate a section here with these little holes in, and then we're going to have to make a plate to go over the top and then probably plug weld it to the return lip. So now it's time to do some cutting and remove these sections and then keep going until we find something substantial to weld to. Right, after a considerable lot of cutting back and cleaning and removing and stripping, I've finally got to the point where I've got something to weld onto. I know, I didn't think I was going to at one point either. One quick thing, I need to apologise for lack of continuity. The stiffener panel inside between the outer sill and the inner sill that I refabricated and welded in, I've lost the footage. I really do need to invest in a non-cheapy knockoff memory card maybe that actually works all of the time. But like I say, that was welded in, treated, primed. Apologies. So our next job is to make a large cardboard template, transfer that onto metal, cut it out on the metal, and then form it around the profile of the sill, put a return on the end, and then in theory we should be ready to weld it in, and then we'll be nearly finished. Wow, as you saw, I welded that patch in and I was just about to clean off the welds and I thought I'll do the front patch, and then I found a bit in the middle, and then I found a bit at the back, and before you know it, a day's work has passed. But all welds are flushed off and the weld up side of the sill is finished. I've put some seam sealer on, brushable seam sealer. Come and have a little look. We are where we need to be. There's a little section at the back, the large section you saw in the middle, and then our large section at the front. But now that we've got our seam sealer on, we're ready for primer. What a job. Now we can wait for that to dry, and then we can apply some white stone chip top coat. And as you saw also when we were welding earlier, we did keep below our little line where our little plastic finisher goes, And it was going so well until the paint caught on fire. So because of that, we will paint above the line, but it is what it is, you know. It wasn't to be helped, but we did try our best. So there you have it. Job done. Have a little look. It's come out very nicely. And now that that plastic piece is going back on, you're never going to see it anyway. But I cannot stress it enough, guys. If this plastic piece would have been on when I got the car, I wouldn't have known at all. I would have been none the wiser. So if you're buying a Mark 1 MR2 and you've got issues or concerns regarding rust, for the sake of 2 minutes work and a load of 10mm bolts, those side panels will just come off. I nearly give up halfway through that. That was horrible. I just kept finding more and more and more. And I've just found more in the floor that I will be going on to next. But I'm sure you all want to see what the other side looks like. Well, if it's just as bad, if not worse than this, I'm into a hell of a lot more work. And that MOT is looking further and further and further away. But I don't like to hide anything on this channel. See this smug look that's forming? Yeah, I've already popped it off. I've had a little look. I'll show you. It's really, really, really good. I'll get away with one, maybe two patches. There's a nasty little old, splodgy, crappy patch that's been done many years ago, which I will cut out and redo. And there's also a section that returns onto the floor halfway down, which I will cut out and weld in at the same time. But it's not going to take me as long as these have. So it gives me a little bit more confidence. It puts that MOT schedule a little bit closer again, I would say. Also, it's cost me nothing. This has just cost me a sheet of metal and a bit of paint. It's just cost me time. And if I would have paid someone to do this, it would have cost me a lot of money. But anyway, guys, if you found this video helpful or informative, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of the build and more epic Mark 1 MR2 action, don't forget to subscribe. Take care of yourself. See you soon. Oh, safety first. Da-da-dam. New gloves, please. When I was younger, what a horrible thing to say. I'm only 31.